Can you tell us a little bit about sociology and what the subject entails?
Well, it's easy and it's a difficult subject at the question to answer at the same time. But what sociology is in its briefest form, is the study of the society in which we live. And so sociology makes us realize that we're not just individuals, but we're parts of groups, and that we're really a part of society. And one of the things I try to get my students to develop while they're in my class, as Bonita can certainly tell you, is I want them to develop kind of a sociological imagination and open their eyes to the fact that there are forces out there that we really have no control over, but affect us on an everyday basis.
So when you ask a student to write a sociology paper, what does the paper entail?
Well, the papers that I'm using in my introduction to sociology class are what I call thought papers, and I hope the papers develop their critical thinking. And one of the problems, I think, in terms of how sociology is taught, is that we expect the students to learn a bunch of terms and sort of spit back the definitions of those terms. But I believe that the best type of sociology is application. And what I try to do is when we go over a particular chapter, I want them to reflect on what they have read. Now, we just completed a chapter called Culture, and on the paper that I'm going to ask them to write is, I want them to tell me the most profound cultural experience that they have ever had in their entire life, and I want them to apply some of the things that we've talked about in our sociology class to that particular.
What are common errors you see in the papers that you grade?
Yeah. Well, grammar. I get a lot of misspellings, of course, things that spell check doesn't catch, like there, two, and two, you know, things like that. I get a lot. One thing I'm kind of hung up on is when there's a singular plural kind of thing. I was just correcting a student's paper just now. An individual there. No, it's individuals there, you know, so I try to correct things like that. So I get a lot of those kind of relatively trivial things. Run-on sentences, incomplete sentences, the usual stuff.
Yeah.
One thing that getting a little bit bigger, I get like what I call ununified paragraphs. So a paragraph that's got about 3 different ideas in it that should be busted up into 3 different paragraphs. Get a lot of that and have to work with that. So I guess you could call that an organization kind of issue.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay.
things like that.
What are you looking for in your types of papers?
Well, probably our types, social science papers. I mean, clarity and focus on a thesis like most other disciplines probably. Maybe one thing, this is probably not something other disciplines don't do either, but a clever use of quotes. You know, I see students needing a lot of help leading into a quote or leading out of a quote, and not quoting too much, but quoting a little bit. And that would be from reviews of literature, but also like another thing, maybe this is a little more unique to sociology. So we'll have students do their own research and collect data. Writing about the data is something that's kind of artful and takes some skill. Most of our issues are the same as everybody else's issues. Clarity, organization, a good introduction, a good conclusion.